You know, Dave, another thing.
What's that?
Over the break here, away from the show, as you know, I'm primarily a writer. You know that.
Yeah, I do know. I know that.
Yeah, I prefer.
Yeah.
I like to sit around, just me and the words. You know what I mean? Like that's my idea of a good time.
I don't know what that
You don't
means.
know what I mean?
I knew the writer, but you were
Well,
with me.
no, I mean, well, you know, like by profession, I write a lot of.
Right. That's how you make most of your
most of
living.
my living,
As
instruction
a writer.
manuals, that sort of thing.
Sure.
A bit of ghostwriting.
A lot of technical stuff.
Technical stuff. But lately, as you know, I, just for a paycheck, I started writing genre fiction for a publisher. They have a specialized genre.
Right.
Erotic science fiction.
Sure. Erotic science fiction.
But the more I write, Dave, the more I fall in love with it. And actually, over the break, I think I've written possibly the greatest thing that I've written to date.
Really?
To this point. Yes. It's this new one I'm working on. Well, you know this. I ghostwrite under the name H.W. Horningbreath. You know that. If you're a fan of erotic science fiction, you know my work. It's a whole aisle. It's me and a couple guys. We share the name. But I think I'm the one who's getting the most into it. I don't know. I mean, of course, if you know the series, the protagonist, Veronica Randolph.
Sure.
Yeah, intergalactic crime scene investigator.
Right.
She has lots of adventures. But lately, this one I'm working on I really think, are you looking for an opportune time to take a bite out of that wrap,
You
Dave?
keep on looking at me like I'm supposed to say something.
Well, Dave, I will in a moment here because I thought, if it's okay with you and maybe the audience, I might even read a little bit of the latest work.
Oh,
If
sure.
That's okay for you. Yes, this is a bit.
Is this on the Tales of Dax Sojourn?
Yes, Dax Sojourn. Yes, is features into this book as well. This is laser beam through the heart crime scene of Borealis Ridge. It's
Right.
possibly the best work we've had thus far. To bring up to speed, I mean, this excerpt is great, but to bring up to speed, if you don't know the whole series, Veronica Randolph, intergalactic crime scene investigator, recently divorced. Hey, it
Sexy
happens.
to boot.
Sexy to boot, of course. Well, her husband, of course, didn't appreciate her because he had an affair with a Martian girl. You know what I mean? That really grinds your gears, when you're someone like Veronica Randolph. So they divorce. So she throws herself in her work, Well, good for her. Lucky for her because a crime scene just opened up. There has been a murder of an Earth diplomat in the Borealan regions of Mars. So someone's got to go and investigate. Veronica Randolph, right there. First rocket to Mars. She's there.
Who better than her?
But she's partnered with a local sheriff, Dax Sojourn, right? Here's the thing. Veronica, she's not a fan of Martians. One of them stole her husband. Well, guess what? Dax Sojourn's parents killed by humans in the Great Martian War. Yeah.
I think sparks are going to fly. When
Well,
they
yeah.
meet.
A lot of tension, you know what I mean?
Sure.
A lot of tension.
Sure.
So, they're out combing the Borealan ridges for evidence together. And they're, button heads all the time. So, something's going to happen. And it does in this scene. So we take you there. As Dak collected some phosphorus clumps to start a fire for the two of them, he reluctantly informed her that the freezing Borealan winds would require that she lay close to him for warmth. "Your human body could not withstand these winds," he said. "And as much as I don't like it, you'll have to lay with me. And trust me, it disgusts me as much as it does you." It's a Martian accent. She was uncertain how she could comfortably sleep so close to him, given that throughout their entire experience together, she wanted to be as far from him as possible. But freezing to death was not an option. Her planet was counting on her to solve this case. They lay down together, hesitantly and silently, eventually falling into a comfortable, restful place despite the swirling frozen methane crystals that lay just outside the opening of their cave. Veronica watched as the red sun set in the west and the pink Martian skies grew dark. By then, the only light came from the glowing green embers of their phosphorus fire, and the only sound from her beating heart and his heaving Yorbusk membrane. Veronica didn't know when she finally fell asleep, but she awoke when she felt Dak's Caresian claws fall from her shoulder and slowly graze her erect nipple. She didn't adjust her position, thinking both that Dak was asleep and that she enjoyed this inadvertent touch. She figured out quickly that he was awake, however, when she felt him suck the bacteria from the back of her neck. She turned to look at all 7 of his well-set eyes. Their narrowness and deep azure hue spoke to his nascent arousal. I'm going to pause. Pause for a second. The reason I emphasize this is a little bit of Martian anatomy. I mentioned the deep azure hue of his eyes. That implies arousal. They change based on his mood. If he was mad, they'd be like purple or something. Back to the story. She knew of his intentions as soon as the prehensile shoulder tusks emerged and gently prodded the nape of her neck. Unable to hold it in anymore, she brought her human lips to his Martian by-purpose eating an evacuation hole. He did not deny her. Eventually, she felt the end of his procreative organ leave its sleeve, and it grew turgid against her skin at an exponential rate. Pause. More Martian anatomy. When his phallus grows at an exponential rate, sexy time, arousal, were it to grow at a linear rate, urination. You're right. Back to the story. They both knew they were near the point of no return, but each hesitated. Finally, she spoke. If this were Venus, I'd have a pun ready for this situation. Rhymes with, you get it, penis.
Penis.
That's right. They both laughed in their own way. Her with coy giggles, and he with an 80 decibel shriek that only other Martians can hear. She pulled him close and stroked his member until its bulbous orange apex emerged. He groaned in pleasure and attempted to pleasure her gill slits until he remembered that she was a human. Right? When she recovered 5 minutes later, they wasted no time to resume their passion. She guided him into her as he regurgitated the egg sac from his mouth and let it hang.
Oh, yeah.
She knew then that he was enjoying it as much as her, and she dug her fingernails into his neck and let the noble gases mist out of his pores to germinate the air. Veronica didn't know how long they'd been spawning. It felt like 6 Martian seconds. That's like 20 Earth minutes. 20 Earth minutes. A decent amount. She hoped it would last another 6. But Dak was quickly reaching his antenator and thusly removed himself from her body to release his issue. His body pulsated as his plasma spewed like a geyser all over the cave for the next several Martian minutes, with each intermittent load coating and dissolving the stalagmite that lay around them. She looked into the eyes of his guppy-sized sperm as they died from exposure to the nitrogen in the air. Their screams of terror provided a fitting accompaniment to their mutual ecstasy. As he collapsed into his orgasm-induced hibernation phase, Veronica looked at his crumpled heap of a body, still stunned by the sudden, powerful chemistry that had just arced between them. It felt for a moment that they could feel this way forever. But her glow quickly faded when she realized that their moment of passion had jeopardized their solving of the case. Forgot about the case, didn't you?
Did.
She lay down again and listened to the methane crystals tap the ridge outside and wondered what tomorrow would bring. Ooh, there you guys go. Steamy scene, steamy scene.
That was good.
Look for it on your Kindle, your Amazon.com.